Why hello again, it's JB back again with something that's really big, and this is something I've yet to show on my channel, but I've done it numerous times before. It's... By looking at the title of this video, it's a layout. Yes, and the last one I built was actually like 3 years ago, but this wasn't in the exact house it was built. It was in another house, like like in a house where I was like somewhere like in Dorset or something. I think it was like maybe in a supported area or somewhat, but anyways, I'm not going to go in depth with that. But for the first time in a long time, it's nice to show off something what other wood railway users do, although I am a mix of 3 different brands, although my channel can really be anything. I am not really those guys who just won't just do stop motion blend or stuff. I just want to put some more like a list of concrete list of anything. And by speaking of this, I don't want to like just dash around it too quickly. I want to talk about like some of the key areas, like some parts now. It does kind of remind me. Oh, I'm so sorry that my but there, in case you're wondering, that's my wardrobe there, and there are mirrors reflecting it, so you can even see part of it through the reflection. Well. But anyways, looking at the set, I think I've managed to incorporate some interesting things. So let's start off here at the 8-inch turntable, where we have Rosie and Flora with her tram coach who's at the crossing. There's a switch track that actually has 2 special engine sheds where, I don't think these sheds are always on centre. I don't think these roofs are not always like that. Then we have Edward and Hero. Yeah, and before any of you point out, I did something really interesting today. I took a photo of the celebration of the 10-year anniversary, the Hero of the Rails, when it was first released. And that's why I put Thomas, my old style Thomas, and Spencer there. However, I moved Spencer somewhere else. I'm going to point out to that later. Okay, so there's another switch track there, and that goes to where the old style D199 is, which I'm used for Bear, who has a box fan and 2 oil tankers. And then that track goes to where Harvey is with 2 extra wagons. And on this track here, before you ask, this is actually like, I decorated it to be like an oil-covered piece of track. It's like some engine will slip on it and then they go crashing into something, like that kind of stuff. And there's that little light thing there, and there are curves where the water tower is, and that's where Neil is. And to where that straight track is, there are a few houses, and that's where it goes to a curve next to a church. And there's a little town I added in there just for some touch-ups. And then we have Duncan, and we've got Rusty pulling like a caboose. And then this line here, past some houses, goes to the automatic crossing where we have a lorry one with the police car. And that's where Rheneas, and that's Lights and Sounds car. By the way, this Rheneas is really horrible. I'm sorry. I customized it back, I want to say around April, I guess. I think it was April I customized this Rheneas to make it look more of a TV series accurate, but it just didn't turn out good. But anyways, moving on now. Here we come to the switch track. When I was building this set, I was just having to have it just 2 lines crossed, but then I added this diamond crossing to where Gordon is, and he's pulling 2 express coaches, and there's the Brio Wellsworth. To when he's crossing goes to the where there is a line that goes to the crossing, and there's Arthur there, and there's Bulgy, and there's a taxi, and another car, and 2 houses. Got some couple of ambulances and a lorry. And then going back there, that's where, if I go that way, that's where Rosie's track is. Yes, there's Rosie. And if I go right at Gordon's line, I come to a crane. And then I have the barrel loader, where we have Mike. Yeah, and I know it's, before you ask, they are sharing the same cage. I know. It's like Thomas Wooden Railway early days on YouTube. Yeah, but he's actually like on the Arsdale Barrow Company. There's Mike and the Arsdale Barrow Company, which does make sense since they're both from the Arsdale Railway, although I don't know if I was to make a series of them, but it's a difference to that. Moving on now, I've scattered some hay bales and some rocks on this side. There's a little big tunnel, which is quite a massive one. And then we have Emily. Right, if I switch over here, I have Emily going under the curve viaduct, pulling the breakdown train. And there's a diamond crossover track, I think I call that one. If I, there's a siding which Timothy is on, pulling 3 trucks of stone, gravel, whatever you call them, probably China clay. Sorry. And then there's another track that goes to the left where we have a green truck and a quarry truck. Then if I take Timothy's line on the left, that's where Terence is, and we curve round, cross the Archstone Bridge, and there's a crossing with 2 railroad crossing signs where there's a lorry about to cross, and there's waiting there is Percy. We're pulling some milk tankers. I've added some trees on these corners to make it more realistic, and some plastic bumpers. There's a little sign there, like it's on a road or something. There's also a street lamp, and there's the roller. Don't know what brand this is. I don't know. Probably IKEA. If you know what brand this roller is, let me know in the comments below. And then going back here, we have climbing the ascending track. We have Duck, who's pulling a goods train across the Soul Bay Bridge, and there's the Soul Bay tugboat, kind of a reference to the A Day at the Work set, yeah. So if I go back, going back quickly now, this is this track there goes to the line pulling a red coach. This is being pulled by none other than the handle, and then I've got a red 6-wheel coach that's from Carousel. For those who don't know, Carousel actually specialises, also is compatible with Wooden Railway too. And they've also got rolling stock a lot as well. You can even get them separately second hand. You can even use the rolling stock to multiply your goods trains and such. Anyways, moving on. His track goes back to where Arthur is at the crossing. And if we were to go back on Sandal's line, you'd come to a T-switch, and if you go left here, you'd go to the oil depot where Mavis is with Boko and Dodge, who's had a bit of a pickle. And got some switch track, and there's Toby. Oh, it just knocked over a tree or two. Oops, sorry, just have to fix that. These trees are so hard to stand up. Oh, knocked over a house first, sorry. Sound is not very good. Here's Toby back to the 8-inch turntable. And then, of course, there is a track on the left that goes to the sheds where James and Billy are. And there's a couple of vehicles, red lorry and a Royal Mail van. There's my old style birdie, and there's a school next to the sheds. Kind of a bit strange there. So going back to, let's see, going back onto the straight, if I go straight forward, we go straight here, and we have the Sodal Railway repair, and then we come to a curve, and then we come to a junction where, for instance, if I take this as a reference to a, I don't know, key railway series story, whatever, and then I got 2 single stone tunnels, and that's where the engine Spencer is. Oh, sorry, I was just doing a little jump cut there. I was actually loading a truck or something. Then we got some trees to make it more scenic, and then we got Spencer pulling the Duke and Duchess coach. There's Harold there, probably like a little reference to Percy and Harold scene where, you know, the AFL curves round. And then his track goes under that collapsing bridge back to where Flora is. And now going back to the track where Rusty is on, we go behind a Levery City, and that's where the pack are working. Jack, Alfie, Arthur and Isabel, some of the pack members. Then I have a lorry too, and then I have the hydrant and a house. And I've got a sending piece of track here with some trees and a few logs. and you climb up the ascended track over the track that Spencer was on. Then you come to a bridge to where Scarloey is, and he's pulling 2 of the Brio Express coaches. Now, interesting enough, these 2 pieces I swapped around because I was having difficulty connecting them together and to keep it straight. And I don't know how well it was, but it was really not much of a choice. And then you go curving up to here. They go across one section of the curved viaduct and then on a straight piece of track. Then another section of the curved viaduct up to a ascending piece of track. Then you come to a bridge where my Brio battery-powered Thomas is featured for once in this video. Is pulling Annie and Clarabelle. Yeah, Thomas's faithful coaches. Yep, I decided to feature the Brio battery-powered Thomas just because I think I overused the 1996 old-style Thomas a bit too often. Although I do have some other Thomases, but that's the model I use quite a lot. And then you go down the hill, this track here, and then you go to a curve viaduct where Flying Scotsman is, and then he's go into a there's accidentally moved Bulgy, and there's a little bridge that small bridge he crosses, and this track as well is connected to another section of the Soderberry Bridge number 2, and then this line goes down to where Stepney is pulling a goods train. Yeah, quite interesting, really. Well, not really interesting. Well, it's just to show off what the layout is, and there's my reflection there. Oh, sorry, there's my hand in the reflection. Just want to show him. Didn't think I was going to do a face reveal anytime soon, but anyways, moving on now. This track goes back to where Reneus is, and there's one part of the layout I haven't covered yet. It's, well, if I go on to Duck's line on the left, and the points that Duck's sitting on the left, there's a bridge here, and then you got Daisy next, passing that bridge, and then you go to an ascending piece of track. Oh, sorry, just to let you know, that box there is some furniture for my room. I do apologise for that. I just wanted to make sure. That's not really important to me right now, but anyways, moving on now. We got on this section of the track, they go turn left at this junction. They got Samson pulling a couple of boxcars, then his line goes back to the tunnel where Spencer is. And if you go straight on, you go to a T-switch, and then you have Henry there. He's at the Sodal Wood Company, or more commonly known as the Sodal Log Loader, and he's loading up some logs, and it's loading up some logs for him to take away to the sawmill. Don't have the sawmill with me, but anyways. And behind him, there are 2 sidings where the recycling cars are, and just an empty truck. And then we have D261, who's featured, as well as a Brio Scruffy. Yeah, I use both Scruffies because I think it's nice to just put extra goods them in other trains. And if he was to turn right on this track, then you go under the crane where the coal loader is, and that truck is in the way, and then it just curves into a normal siding. And then going back to the T-switch, you go straight on where there's a Crosby Station cargo truck, and there's Neville loading up with coal. Although Fred Pilleo's one truck has been loaded, there's a green truck that I was talking about, and it curves to just a normal siding. Although I'm not really that good explaining because of a disability I have. Also, I'd like to point out I forgot to include there's Elizabeth, Caroline, the Brio Bertie. I do feature both birdies in some scenes, but sometimes I just tend to use the Brio Birdie because he looks more realistic to the old style Bertie. Those are the only 2 versions of Bertie that I own. And if I compare him to this Birdie, he has the passengers, but although it doesn't really make sense because he doesn't carry passengers around all the time. It just doesn't make sense since he meant to be, if he's like they're being unloaded or stuff. Well, that's pretty much it covered for this layout. The majority of this layout is quite the concept of what it looks like. So let's take a quick shot of that. I'm going over the 15-minute zone. Might have to split this in 2 parts. So anyways, I hope thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. This is JB signing off.